Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask, we have a very important announcement to make, and I would ask all of the members in the chamber who have deployed into a combat zone, if they would mind joining me up here, I would appreciate it. And I would ask Representative Matt Gabler if you would come front and center. Matt is deploying, those of you who are not aware of it, in January. The length of his deployment is not known officially, although Matt has somewhat of an idea how long that's going to be. But I wanted to speak to him today as both a former colonel in the Marine Corps, retired Marine colonel, and just hopefully you will get a perspective of what's about to happen. Whenever I would deploy my Marine soldiers, sailors, or airmen, we would have a very serious discussion with him, and I would like to do the same thing with Matt today, but I think it's worthwhile if you hear it. The next time Matt sees his daughter, a birthday will have passed. A Thanksgiving will likely have passed. He will likely be gone for one entire Christmas season. His daughter, who is 1, will be 2, and that's a huge difference in the lifespan of a youngster. His wife will be in a situation where she will be the sole caregiver of the family while her husband is forward deployed and is making as much of a sacrifice to defend this nation as anyone else is. But today, Matt's life will be changing in ways like you cannot possibly imagine. He no longer has the right to relax. He no longer has the right to sleep. He no longer has the right to think of himself, not that he ever did. He's a great leader. You see, if he makes a mistake coming in early January, someone's going to die. When he goes forward deployed, he's going to have weapons. His soldiers will have weapons. And you don't know in an asymmetric type of warfare when that attack will occur, but it will. I recall a situation in Iraq where we had to put concrete barriers in front of a hospital ambulance entrance because the enemy would capture an ambulance, detonate a bomb out in the city, and bring wounded into the hospital and then detonate the ambulance so that it would kill the doctors and the first responders. Matt is a medical service officer. He is a target. Please make no bones about it. When he's deployed, one of the things I always told him, and I told my son when he deployed to go to Iraq, that you have to remember no matter where you are, you're in a forward base, you're in a combat zone, the enemy is out there, and that's why you're armed. When you are preparing your operations on a day-to-day basis, that slightest detail that you forget will bring someone home in a body bag. When you're coming home, the greatest number of casualties occur in the first 2 weeks of combat and being deployed and the last 2 weeks. The worst thing that can ever happen is when you have to notify a family member that their husband, wife, son, or daughter died the last day of their deployment because they got careless. Matt, this is one of those times where it's not just pushing a button, because what we do here is extremely important, but this is one of those cases where your deployment is not over until the day every one of your soldiers gets home, not just to the base in the United States, but until they are back with their families. I told every one of my Marine commanders that when you deploy, your families that you have gotten their relatives from, whether it's a grandson or granddaughter, son or a daughter, husband, wife, father or mother, that they have lent them to us. Your intellect, your capability, that superior judgment that Captain Gabler has is what's going to bring every one of those men and women home. And I just want him to know that as I'm standing here today, and I think all of us say this together, that we are here to support him and his family. I'm saying this, Matt, whatever we can possibly do, let us know. The Majority Leader has a token of appreciation. It's a Blue Star flag that your wife would hang in the room of your house to let the community know that you were forward deployed. The Speaker also has a flag of the Blue Star flag that he would hang it. We would ask if he would be willing to hang it as an office here in the Capitol so that we would be reminded that Matt, like so many other thousands of Pennsylvania veterans and service members from the National Guard, that they're forward deployed and that our decisions are affecting each and every one of their families. I will tell you that Matt will be leaving here as a young person in his early 30s, but be coming back as a 50-year-old. The experience that he will have, they'll start to call him the old man. They call me the old man, but apparently it's for different reasons. But when you realize he will find out, and he is seeing it as he does it already in his military career, that this is a tremendously important responsibility that he has, for which he can never waver in the support of those soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and all of those forward deployed. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Matthew. Representative Gabler. Captain. Great friend. Representative Gabler actually worked in my office when I was in the policy chair, and a great friend. He took a leave of absence to go run for the seat that he has, went and worked very hard, like all of you do, to get elected in your districts. And Representative Gabler, tenure, are you going into your, or this is your 9th year and you're going into 10th year of service, correct? Well, Godspeed with you. His lovely wife is actually from my district, so every now and then I see them around my district because they're visiting with her parents. And Matt, we are all hoping that you are just completely safe. We thank you for your service to our country. We will miss you, but we know you're going to come back and tell us all you've done with your fellow service men and women to serve the United States and the world. Thank you very, very much, my good friend.
And Mr. Speaker, one last item. We have a challenge coin that I'd ask Chairman Barr and Chairman Sonata, who are two tremendously patriotic Americans, that they could present this to Matt. For those of you in the chamber, the challenge coin symbolism is this: if Captain Gabler ever does not have this and you're in a bar, he must buy you a round of drinks. So I will show you what it looks like so they can be charged appropriately. Bring your credit card, Matt.
Thank you, Representative Ryan. Thank you, sir.